New servers have been released, and with that I have started yet again a new character, this time a paladin. I already did this 2 times in the past. My first character that I started the channel with was a paladin, but most of that content is quite old now, and more recently I tried to replicate my projects of solo knights and mages in a new server with a paladin, but I gave up at level 89, and the reason is simple: it was too slow and I got bored. I think solo paladins are at a spot right now that is far too slow compared to the other vocations, at least on the low level range, and I don't think they are more profitable than other vocations anymore. Again, with a few more levels they do get better, the problem is getting there. So why am I trying it again? It's because I got invited to start off from zero with a team of friends I was doing bosses with. This is besides my main team of Bytera. That hasn't changed, although I consider that a more casual team. And this one is more motivated to play, so I figure I give it a shot, because I'm also liking the paladin content for the channel, but didn't want to play one by myself. For now, I have yet to decide how I will be making content with this character besides the hunting guys, but for this video, let's talk about our first week in the server. We started right away on the release, got our level 8 and headed to Castle the Dwarf Mines, because Cas was boosted and this particular cave got an extension added to it that has a faster respawn. So that on top of the boosted area was plenty for us, even with 5 people, which yes, we started the server as a 5-man. That makes the leveling a bit slower for sure, but if you got a predetermined team, it's fine to go with it. Later on, the benefits of hunting with a group of 5 are higher, so sacrificing around 10 to 15% of your experience to get another person is a viable option. We hunted here to level 14, so that we could get flame strikes on the mages and then move on to the Guardians of Porthope. And in about 2 hours of playtime, we got from 0 to 22, then stopped there for now to get back on later that day to play some more, where we decided to go where hyenas. This is a spawn where only mages get to do anything, since it's only viable with magic shield and both me or Teike will get headshot with a regular combo. So we just pretty much AFK'd and used energy fields to get participation and help with the damage. And after about 1 hour and a half I got to level 34, and that's where day 1 stopped. For day 2, we went to the Warrens of Liberty Bay, which I already covered with my Bytera team. With this one, we started earlier than my level recommended, and that was clearly visible on the experience, which was about 120k less raw. Obviously, being a 5-man party affects it a bit, but also the lack of levels is a big part. And after about 2 hours, we stopped at level 43. Day 3, we went to the Nightmare Crypt in Kralos, where the experience was about 10 to 20% less than my 4-man hunts, which is within the expectations of a 5-man party and lower levels. This day, we also did about 2 hours of hunt, and I ended at level 60. Day 4, we move on to the Weird Cave of Edron. This was a bit hard to hunt, but doable with a few close calls here and there. We were having the EK mostly running circles with shooters on firebombs, and I was also throwing energy bombs to add damage that way. With an experience close to the 700k raw, so pretty decent, especially with at least making some money to cover part of the supplies and expenses of the team, and finishing the day at level 74. On day 5, I got them to try a spawn I didn't get to with my Bytera team, the Old Fortress of Edron. This is a known and popular spawn, so much so that when we were playing on Bytera at this level range, it was too busy and we never got to try it, but here it wasn't as contested. Unfortunately, the 5-man party backfired on us at this point, since we were overkilling with just one floor, and the other floor was taken by other team. So our experience was sitting at around the 600k raw, with peaks closer to the 700k the times we added pulls from both floors. Overall, much better than I expected, so clearly still a viable option for team hunts. After 1 hour, we move on to busters, since the spawn became available. If you see my vlogs of Bytera, this and the other spectre spawns we never got to hunt, because we were too under level at the time compared to the other players and our slow start, but with this one we were ahead of most players and it had less competition for it. We tried to go guessers first, but that was already too contested. So we settled with busters, which was possible with a defense brace on the EK, and having 2 druids was clearly helpful as well. However, we had to stop the hunt short after 40 minutes, because we were getting KS by some random sorcerer and it wasn't worth wasting the brain like that. So I finished day 5 at level 80. We came back the next day, starting as a 4-man briefly for 1 refill and then as a 5-man after. But due to the low levels, our refills were quite short and we'll have to leave the spawn very often. But still, we were doing around the 1.2kk raw, which honestly just goes to support my claim that fighting for the spectre spawns is not worth the hassle. However, I don't deny the experience is clearly higher than anything else. but it came at the cost of the EK dying once and one of the druids as well, with me barely joining them 2 times. After 1 hour and a bit, we finished the defense spray and then move on to were hyenas, again at a much lower level than I recommended on my guide for it, but we were also hunting differently. Just like in the were cave of Edron, the EK was kiting the monsters, and we were all running in circles pretty much. This time we were hunting as a 4-man and the experience was pretty decent at the 800k raw, so after finishing our green stamina for the day, I ended at level 94, which by the way, my previous paladin on the solo project took me 18 days to get to level 89, compared to the 6 days it took this time. Day 7 we started with were hyenas again, while we waited for our turning gazers, which once again was doable with a defense sprays on the EK, although this time we were hunting 4 men. But other than the pulls with 8 gazers, it was pretty easy on him, with an experience of around the 1.2kk raw and no profit whatsoever, barely enough to cover the defense spray and some waste of the druid, with the new server prices on the Tibia coins. So personally, I am still an anti-spectre spawn. Regardless, in the 2 hours of the defense spray, I got 8 levels to 104, and later that day I got access to Ixopan to try out the content for a solo spawn, and ended up dying in the attempt. So with that, in 1 week, starting from 0, I got to level 104, with the rest of my team around the same level. Me personally, as the paladin, spent a total of 703 Tibia coins, 115 on training weapons, 180 on XP boost of 30 coins, and 408 on supplies. I bought back 75 coins with some profits here and there, but overall I had it the easiest in terms of waste compared to the mages who have spent closer to 2 or 3 times that amount, and we've been sitting at around the top 30 to 50 in terms of experience in the server. I think our spending hasn't been out of control like some other teams, but our leveling also hasn't been the best. Overall, we're doing okay and looking forward to using potions from casts to greatly reduce the waste per hunt. And that's all I got for this video. If you want to catch any of these live, I plan on streaming more often at Twitch, although my team in this server is Mexican, so our hunts will be in Spanish. If you want English content, I still stream more hunts with the Viteria squad sometimes as well. Thank you for watching and special thanks to Tuna Hero, Night Star and Door the Slasher for their additional support.